on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker in the South, and I broadcast from live from, I don't even know where I am. New Haven, I think? Yale. I'm at Yale. I'm at Yale campus. Coming to you live from Yale campus in New Haven, Connecticut. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one, because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Yale Union Debate Day. There's this guy also that was talking about MAMDANI METS. I guess people are blaming the METS for on Zoran Mamdani for some reason. I don't know why. Are the METS doing poorly? Is that what it is? I don't know anything about baseball. I don't follow baseball at all, but they're doing METS slander, I guess. We need to shake up this team. New starting lineup: Bernie Sanders, Hassan Piker, Big Bill de Blasio, Mahmoud Khalil, AOC, Rama Dawaji, Rashida Tlaib, Letitia James. He hugged Mr. Met. That's it. The mascot, they said it was anti-Semitic. No, but like, are the Mets doing poorly or something? Sid Rosenberg. Here's a fun fact. Since Mr. and Mrs. Met practically banged New York City mayor, the Mets have lost every game since, and now they've got the Dodgers in LA tonight. Let's go Yanks. Practically banged? Or is he saying that Mr. and Mrs. Met had a gangbang with Zoran Mamdani? Is that what it is? It's because Zoran Mamdani met Mr. and Mrs. Met at Citi Field, and Sid Rosenberg is a psycho that got really upset about that.
You guys.
The team has been awful this year. Isn't the Mets always kind of bad, though? Like, isn't that one of the things, is like the Mets is anti-Semitic because, not because they met with Zoran Mamdani, but because it's like, it's constantly creating sadness and grief for New York Jews, many of which are fans of the Mets. Like, I thought that was the whole, I thought that was the whole ordeal, is that like the New York Mets were anti-Semitic from the start because it hurts the feelings of every New York Jew that is a fan of the New York Mets. Also, the mascot snubbed Sid. He's been crying ever since. Oh, that's funny. Don't steal Jon Stewart's swag. That's his bit. I mean, I think that's just like a common meme, no? It's a little bit like a cliche. Most of the right-wingers are in New York are Yankees fans. Yes, I've heard that, except for AOC. AOC's a Yankee. They got mocked by the Doyers in offseason. There was smoke around them signing an all-star player only for the Doyers to come in and sign him. Oh, anyway, interfaith maxing here. That's very cool. Shouts out to the GOAT, the Pope. I'll read you one thing that the Pope said. He is not standing down as a real American Chicagoan. He says, God's heart is torn apart by wars, violence, injustice, and lies. But our Father's heart is not with the wicked, the arrogant, or the proud. God's heart is with the little ones and the humble, and with them he builds up his kingdom of love and peace day by day. Wherever there is love and service, God is there. Now, I'm not exactly a fan of the Pope saying something like that and then following that up with hashtags, but he says, hashtag apostolic journey, hashtag Algeria. Now, you didn't need to do that, Pope. You could have just kept it at the statement, because hashtags are, you know, they're of a bygone era, right? But yeah, we got a real Pope versus president situation going on. The president being the Pope of the freaks and the heretics and the agents of Satan. And then the real Pope being the Pope of the Catholics. Chill, that was probably his 60-year-old intern lady doing her best. Yeah, probably. Have you seen Fox News tweeting your statements and everyone just agreeing? Yes, it's been 2 days of both Fox News and a lot of right-wing Democrats doing everything in their power to, I guess, like, spread my message far and wide. And to that, I have only thankfulness. I am thankful that they are doing that for me. That's very kind of them. Shouts out to all of the corporate-backed, lobbyist-funded, center-right Democratic consultants, and certainly a big thank you to Fox News as well. Mainstream media is cool now. Exactly. Yeah, the Fox News is back at it again. They said Hamas over Israel every single time. Far left streamer Hassan Piker doubled down on his support of Hamas, calling the Islamic terror group the lesser evil compared to Israel. Piker also stood by his past comments, saying the terrorist organization is 1,000 times better than Israel. This will hopefully get some other people to question why I'm saying that, right? Because, like, I know that the Fox News audience is probably not going to look at this and be like, oh yeah, he means, like, you know, Israel has killed a lot more than Hamas has or anything like that. But at least for those in the margins, those in the periphery, hopefully this will be a wake-up call, an opportunity for them to really reconsider. That's my job. My job is to pierce through these pre-established, oftentimes racial animus that many Americans have. The notion that any kind of resistance front, a non-state actor that sometimes may or may not actually engage in war crimes themselves in their emancipatory endeavors, can be a better force than the forever ally that we have that is doing the genocide.
We'll let my Barkhad, no, we'll let my ILHAN interview.
Stay away from my queen. Stay away from my queen.
She said she likes me better.
That's a lie. That's a lie. She did not say that. You're crazy.
She said that you're taller, but you don't have a sense of humor.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's devastating.
Like repeating Cumtown bits is not a personality.
I would never repeat Cumtown bits. I would never repeat Cumtown bits because they're offensive and I'm woke.
No, apparently you repeated it. She told me the ones you repeated, and I was like, there was no even real justification for that one. That was
wow.
That's hard.
So there's a justification for you saying the Cumtown bits when you were on Cumtown, but there's no justification for me repeating them.
Oh, believe me, sir. I wasn't saying much on Cumtown.
Yeah, this is
just there.
Yeah.
All right.
We need ILHAN Omar to settle the debate. Hasan the Hun versus Adam Friedland. This was called in the question on the timeline, and ILHAN Omar responded with, "Hate to break it to Hasan the Hun and Adam Friedland, but Kaya is my favorite," which of course means that I won. The McMorrow people have given up anti-Semitism smears and have moved as ludicrously on to pro-corporate economics. Jill Filipovich says, "It's true that Donald Trump's one trick is to blame every problem on immigrants, but I don't think it's a better trick to blame complex problems on nefarious corporations that apparently want you jobless, homeless, and dead." Oh my God. That is incredible. That's a brilliant take. It's a brilliant take because what's the alternative? It's just don't blame anybody. Is that what it is? Don't blame the actual entities responsible for your demise. Don't blame the system. Don't blame capitalism. Don't blame corporations. Don't blame immigrants. You know, that's what the Republicans do. But they also, that means you can't actually blame the real pressure points, the real issue in American politics, which is like corporate domination that puts profit over the interests of the people over and over again, and a system of corporate domination that has designed this country in a very undemocratic manner that is only kept up through constant subsidies and constant cash flows to politicians directly, so that politicians listen to the corporate demands rather than the demands of the people. That's cool, though. I guess that's not true. That's just fake. There are real problems with corporate power, but bad corporation took your nice thing away is not actually the sole or even chief cause of most of these problems. Democratic politicians should offer voters real solutions, of which there are actually many. If you can't afford a home, it's probably not because a corporation is speculating on the home you should have had. Wait, no, it's literally the entire speculatory process itself that treats housing as a commodity, a speculative asset, rather than shelter for people is the problem. As I said in the initial tweet, out of control corporate power is really a huge problem and Democrats should take it on. But I'm just not impressed with politicians who have a single answer to every problem, especially when the problems are actually complicated and caused by multiple forces, and what people need are accurate diagnoses and thoughtful solutions. Take housing, one of his examples. Housing is generally expensive in places where people want to live because there's not enough housing. There are other causes too. So why are there not enough housing? Why is there not enough housing? Great question, right? Okay, there's not enough housing. I agree. I don't consider myself to be a NIMBY or a YIMBY. I'm invested in building public housing. I'm also fond of the argument that we need to build more housing. I'm fond of that argument. I'm also fond of preserving certain cultural landmarks and ensuring that the way that we design these cities is also habitable, is like wonderful places for people to want to live in. You know, so I see both sides of the NIMBY argument. Sorry, San Francisco chatters. I know this will trigger the fuck out of you, because you're always like, which side are you on? Will kill you. You say, take housing, for example. Housing is generally expensive in the places where people want to live because there's not enough housing. Why is there not enough housing? Is it because the land is finite in supply? Because you can make the land work better, right? You can build more units on top of the land, on top of the pre-existing land. You know, that's one way of going about it. So why? Why are we not doing it? Well, it's because housing is treated like a speculative asset. That's the whole point. What did Xi Jinping say? The eminent leader, the dear leader Xi Jinping, what did he say? He said, homes are to live in, not for speculation. He was right. I agree with that sentiment, and I hope that more American politicians can openly say exactly that. There are other causes too, but it's fundamentally a supply issue, and that supply issue is caused by a long list of things. But the biggest problem is not, in fact, corporations buying all the houses. Yeah, no, it's definitely one of the multiple forces. Perhaps the most consequential one is the way we treat housing in this country. What are her solutions? Nothing, status quo. Yes, it's just to fucking complain. It's just to chirp. I think it's ultimately really funny, though, because these people will be like, you need to craft better messaging. And then they'll get mad at the left for doing left populism. And they'll say, no, you need to craft better messaging that actually explains the problem. No, you didn't explain the problem at all. You just made it unnecessarily complex to not explain the true problem. And left populist messaging that's easy to identify, easy to understand is unironically a million times better than whatever the fuck you're doing, especially because any person that hears or encounters your message is going to go, what do you mean corporations are people too and we need to preserve their feelings? What the fuck? I don't give a shit about corporations. Fuck corporations. Fuck the billionaires.